All right, let's talk about one of the biggest mysteries in American literature. And no, I'm not talking about what the A stands for. I'm talking about the 50-page preface to The Scarlet Letter that pretty much everyone skips. It's called The Custom House, and we're going to see why it isn't just some boring introduction, it's actually the secret key to understanding the entire novel.
I mean, it's a fair question, right? Why on earth would you kick off your masterpiece with a 50-page gripe session about your old job? Before we even get a glimpse of Hester Prynne on that scaffold, we have to wade through this long essay about bureaucracy, writer's block, and a bunch of old guys sleeping at their desks. It feels completely out of place, but trust me, it's the setup for everything that really matters.
So, let's set the scene. The story starts with the author himself, Nathaniel Hawthorne, coming back to his hometown, Salem, Massachusetts. Now, he's already a pretty famous author, but hey, the guy's got to eat, so he takes a government job as the head surveyor at the Salem Custom House. And this quote, wow, it tells you everything you need to know about how he feels. It's not love for his hometown. He calls it a strange, indolent, unjoyous attachment. It's like he can't escape it. He's drawn back by some instinct he can't control, almost like he's a ghost destined to haunt the very place he grew up.
And speaking of ghosts, for Hawthorne, Salem is crawling with them, especially the ghosts of his own ancestors. These guys were the real-deal Puritans, tough-as-nails soldiers and judges. One of them even presided over the Salem witch trials. He can almost hear them looking down on him, whispering to each other, "A writer of storybooks. The degenerate fellow might as well have been a fiddler."
So he's carrying all that baggage when he walks into his new job, and the place he describes? It's just bleak. This isn't some bustling port. It's a place of decayed wooden warehouses and unthrifty grass. Even the eagle statue above the door looks less like a symbol of American pride and more like a predator ready to attack. The whole place just smells like decay. And the people inside? Well, they're just as stuck in time as the building itself. Hawthorne describes his co-workers not really as living, breathing men, but as these perfectly preserved ghosts from another era, just kind of sleepwalking through their jobs. Let's meet a couple of these guys.
First, you've got the inspector. Hawthorne's description of this guy is unbelievable. His entire life, his whole being is just food. He's ancient, but he can recall a turkey he ate 60 years ago with more passion and clarity than, any major world event.
So what's the point of this? Hawthorne's conclusion is that the man has no soul, no mind, no heart, just a stomach. He's pure instinct. And in a bizarre way, that makes him the perfect employee for the custom house. The soul-crushing work can't destroy him because there's nothing there to destroy in the first place.
Now, on the complete other end of the spectrum, you have the old general. This man was a legitimate war hero, a man of incredible honor and action. But now, he just sits by the fire, a living relic of a more exciting time, totally out of place, like a battle sword among the inkstands.
But Hawthorne looks at him and sees that the fire isn't completely out. He sees this stubborn and ponderous endurance, and he imagines that if a battle trumpet sounded right then and there, the old warrior would spring back to life. But here, in the silence and decay of the custom house, that spirit is dormant, and maybe it's dormant for good. You see, these aren't just funny little character sketches. They're the two possible fates Hawthorne sees for himself in this place. He can either become a mindless creature of appetite like the inspector, or a noble spirit slowly fading into nothing, like the general. And that's the real crisis here. This job is literally killing his soul as a writer. This might be one of the greatest descriptions of writer's block ever. His imagination, which used to create entire worlds, is now just a dull, tarnished mirror. It can't reflect anything. He tries to bring the characters of the Scarlet Letter to life, but they just stare back at him, cold and lifeless, as if they're saying to him, "What do you have to do with us? You sold your creative power for a government paycheck." He starts to see this terrifying pattern, this curse that seems to fall on everyone who works there too long. It's a three-step process. First, you rely on the government for your paycheck. Second, you feel your own inner strength start to wither away. And finally, you completely lose the ability to stand on your own 2 feet. You become a hollow shell. And this is the real terror for Hawthorne. It's not just that he can't write a book. It's the feeling that his mind, his very essence, is just evaporating, leaking out of him day by day. He's genuinely afraid he's going to become another one of those ghosts, just dozing in a chair, waiting for lunchtime. But right when he's at his lowest point, something amazing happens. Providence, or fate, or whatever you want to call it, steps in. But here's the twist. He doesn't find the courage to quit his job. He gets fired.
And getting fired is the best thing that could have possibly happened to him. Now, the spark for all this actually shows up while he's still working there. He's digging around in a dusty old attic in the custom house and finds this package left behind by a surveyor 100 years earlier. Inside is an old manuscript telling a story from Salem's past, and wrapped inside it is a faded, beautifully stitched scarlet letter A. The seed for the novel has been planted.
But that seed can't grow in the dead soil of the custom house. And then, suddenly, politics gives him an escape hatch. In 1848, a Whig president, General Zachary Taylor, gets elected. Hawthorne's a Democrat, and back then the political system was simple. A new party comes in, they fire everyone from the old party and give the jobs to their friends.
And there it is, the climax of his career as a public servant. The political guillotine, as he calls it, comes down. He's fired, publicly humiliated in his own hometown. It should have been a complete disaster, but for Hawthorne the writer, it was the moment he was set free.
And this is where it all comes together. Hawthorne completely reframes this professional failure as a kind of artistic rebirth. He loses the job, but he finds his voice again.
He sums up this new perspective in one absolutely brilliant phrase. He calls the story he's about to write the posthumous papers of a decapitated surveyor. Get it? His head has been chopped off as a public officer, which means he is now finally free to live as an artist. He's writing from beyond the grave of his old bureaucratic self.
That whole experience of being publicly shamed, of being cast out, gave him the one thing he was missing to write the Scarlet Letter: genuine empathy. He finally, truly understood what it felt like to be an outcast in your own community. For the first time, he really understood Hester Prynne.
And that's where we land. The Custom House isn't some boring, skippable preface. It's Hawthorne's own scaffold. It's the story of how he had to suffer his own public shame to find the insight he needed to tell Hester's story. So the next time you picture her standing up there all alone, just remember the decapitated surveyor who created her. And maybe ask yourself, who's the real ghost haunting this story?